Hi, I'm Grace from Good Cookery, and today I'm making tallow, which is rendered beef fat. So we're going to start by chopping up the suet. This is a really clean suet. It doesn't have much junk in it at all. But what you want to remove is anything that has blood or veins, gray, black, any type of discoloration that will cause your suet to go rancid very fast. But this is in really good shape, so I don't have to take hardly anything out. So for a small amount of tallow, I'm going to chop it all by hand and chop it very fine. So I'm chopping it to about the size of a crackling, if you've seen cracklings, or maybe 1/8 of an inch. And when I use the food processor, I go for the same size as well. When I go to render a lot of tallow, I just keep the chunks big, like probably about that size, and I throw them back in the freezer until they're half frozen, and then I throw them in a food processor, and I let the food processor chop it. But since I'm only doing a small amount, I'm going to chop it all myself. I like chopping it when it's not completely thawed. It's still very cold and it holds its shape. If you wait till it's completely thawed, then it's a lot messier to try to chop up. I usually, when I do a large amount, I will put it in a Dutch oven and bake it for probably 2 or 3 hours at 250 degrees. That's called a dry render. The wet render method is using a pot and putting it on the stove, and it's called wet because you start out by adding a little bit of water so that on the hot stove top it doesn't burn the fat. It starts by heating the water and melting the fat. So that's the wet render method, and that's the one I'm doing today. And I'm going to move over and put a little bit of water in the bottom. I'm going to put in probably 2 tablespoons of water just to cover the bottom. Scrape this off of the side so you can see the texture. It's very clean and white, small chunks. And then I'm going to put it on the stove top, put it on low, and cover it with a lid until it comes to like a steamy bubble boil, and then I will tip the lid so that the steam can escape and all the water that I put in will evaporate. The tallow has been going for about 10 minutes and it's come to a nice boil and it's very steamy. I'm going to give it a little stir and then leave the lid tilted up and make sure my flame is on absolute low. We don't want to burn the fat at all, but it should be bubbling. And you'll also have these chunks of fat here. That's what we chopped up, and then the heat is going to slowly melt the fat from that. It won't melt all the way down though. You'll be left with some chunks, and those are cracklings, and they are great stirred into beans or other dishes. So I'll come back in about half an hour. It's been an hour of cooking the beef fat, and it's very dark. I don't want it to get any darker, and you can pull it sooner. It does not have to be this dark. All of these chunks are cracklings, so I'm going to pour all of this through a wire mesh strainer, and that way I can catch all the cracklings. What I do with the cracklings is I salt them and keep them in the refrigerator until I'm ready to use them. Press out the extra fat, and then I put it into a bowl where I can salt it. So that is beef tallow made from rendered suet.